I should probably.
Okay, I think we're live on YouTube. I'm going to check Facebook.
Address. I'm going to put something in the. Thought that would be okay.
I got it. It went to private chat. I'll add it.
Oh, okay.
You want me to post that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. There we go. All right. We have some people joining, so we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another City Updates live broadcast. I'm Jamie Chavez, your host from the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to have you with us today. As always, we're here to bring you the latest insights straight from City Hall, featuring conversations with our councilors, our mayor pro tem, and others from the city as well. And it is your backstage pass to what's happening in Westminster. If this is your first time joining us for the broadcast, a special welcome to you. Thank you for being here. For our Facebook viewers, feel free to like and follow our page to receive notifications in the future for when we go live. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe, and you can also view all of our previous broadcasts there. On Mondays, all of our broadcasts are about city updates, while Wednesdays offer a chance to meet the newest members of the chamber and learn about their businesses. So I encourage you to join us for those broadcasts as well. This Wednesday at 11 a.m., I'll be live with Vector Bank. So I'm excited to share them with you and what they have to tell you about their business and what they bring to the area. And we also reserved the last Friday of the month for broader county updates featuring Jeffco County Commissioner Tracy Kraft-Tharp. So I hope that you'll join us for that as well at the end of May. As you watch this broadcast this morning, please feel free to engage with us. Drop your comments, ask any questions that you have for our guests today, or simply say hello, and we will get to those during the interview. And now finally, a very warm welcome to Mayor Pro Tem Sarah Nurmela. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've got some people here. Want to say hello. Good morning, Dave. Thanks for joining us today. Happy Monday. We've got Parker. Good morning, Parker. Thanks for being with us. We'll probably get a few more that want to say hello, and I'll post those also. But how are you? How's your Monday going?
Well, it's going well. You know, always one. We have a sick kid today, so it's May. So really, we should be done with that. But
was it one or I can't? It was 2 weeks ago. Both of my kids were sick, and then I was getting sick, and it was a whole thing. So I feel your pain. You get to this time of year, and you kind of hope you're out of the woods, but apparently not.
No. My husband calls May the 90 days of May because there's so much happening. And somebody else was joking that all of the April weather makes for more rescheduled games in May, which is probably why we end up calling it that. But yeah, it's a busy month. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on for council too, and including this week. We have a town hall on the budget on the 9th on Thursday. So, oh my goodness, I didn't write down the time for that. It's May. Hold on, I have it on my phone.
No problem.
Just want to make sure.
Brian Head has joined us. Good morning, Brian.
I wrote all the things down for it, but let's see. So that budget town hall starts at 6 o'clock. And
okay.
It is at City Park Rec Center in the Longs Peak Room. So I'm hoping that people will, if you're able to join us, that's an opportunity to come in person and talk to us about what we're going to be budgeting for the next year for 2025. And if you can't make it, I did put in the link, a link to just our regular outreach page where you can actually put in budget requests. I would say we didn't hear last year, we didn't get a ton of budget requests from residents or businesses or anything. There were only like one or two, and I just felt like we weren't getting enough. input. So that's why we're having this additional town hall in advance of our budget conversations. And we want to be specifically requesting thoughts through our outreach. So that's where that link comes into play. We'll be accepting budget requests, so you all know, through May 23rd. So get them in there. I mean, we have a few extra already this year. So that's good. We've already had some good engagement.
Awesome. All right, let me get that up there too. So what else is going on this crazy windy day?
Well, tomorrow is the 5th. I love the name, the Who's Cat, the dog park, Westminster Hills Open Space Community Advisory team. Is it team? I would think so. The Who's Cat. And that has a lot of stakeholders from, groups that are engaged with the dog park out there, and from neighborhoods, and the mayor attends those. And we had the 5th meeting is tomorrow night at Walnut Creek Golf Course. And so it'll be windy, but that one is the cat meetings you can attend them, but unless you're on the actual steering, on that committee, I don't think that there's the public input opportunity at those meetings, but you can listen in and then send in questions afterward if you want to engage. So that's going on. We have just ongoing input that we're trying to solicit for the Parks and Recreation visioning plan. It has its own website, so you can also just go check that out online. Hopefully people have seen the surveys that have come along. So that's something that we're trying to hopefully wrap up this year. And hopefully big elements of that might be reflected in the 2025 budgeting process, but we'll see. These plans are long-term, and they tend to kind of roll into the following year with more specific action plans.
And if people haven't seen that survey, where will they find it?
I was trying to find the latest one on our website, but I found it. I see them all come through Facebook, and I'm sure there's people that don't do Facebook, but I know that they did some social media pushes. I don't know if the latest one is still active, but we do have just an ability for people to just weigh in. So it's not just because you don't get a survey doesn't mean you can't put your thoughts into it. But there is, if you go to our City of Westminster website, the parks visioning process is pretty one of the first things that you would see, and you can click on that.
Thank you.
What else is going on? I have just some highlights. I don't want to just, you guys. I will blab until people ask me specific questions, but I did have a few other things I was going to point out.
Okay.
We've been working on our strategic plan. And so we met in April on that. And you will see that the last couple of Mondays, we have been finalizing some of the language on the strategic priorities and our vision statement. And so you'll see tonight on our agenda, we're adopting those bigger statements of our mission, vision, and strategic priorities. So that's on our agenda. And we also are kind of diving into the objectives, which is another layer below, trying to kind of parse out what are we focusing on within those bigger buckets of priorities. So we'll have some discussion about that this evening.
Awesome.
That's going to be more in the post-meeting session after our city council meeting. I also did want to highlight, just for interest with the business community, and hopefully people have been engaging with our sustainability team. And we have an updated sustainability report that is attached to our agenda memo tonight as well. And I think there's been a lot of success with businesses in the community taking advantage of grants that we have with respect to energy efficiency and signing up for the SAGE program. And that I'm definitely passionate about having our businesses take advantage of and buy into, not buy into, but connect with our sustainability team. One of the things that I noticed when I first moved to Westminster is not a lot of businesses recycled, especially our restaurants. And I would just love to see, not only our local businesses, but even the national businesses just help us divert our waste. We do not have a great, as a city overall, we don't have a good diversion rate. Most of our trash goes to the landfill. And
Parker's on, so maybe he can speak to that a little bit as a restaurant owner, but we'll see if he wants to.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like, in composting and all the things that kind of contribute to us trying to not get everything into the landfill. That would be great to have input on that. And so regardless, I would just encourage folks to check out the SAGE program and any other grants that we have available for businesses. And that's not only for sustainability and energy efficiency, but just for employee development. We have workforce assistance. And okay, I'm reading Parker's.
Yeah, he says you definitely recycle, but I think I have some ideas we can talk offline about that. So that's helpful. Thank you, Parker.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. I think the other things that are just ongoing right now as we continue to flesh out our strategic priorities and our planning for the next year. We've had just a lot of focus on trying to respond to and understand what's happening with the legislative session this year, and particularly in relation to how that impacts our ongoing efforts for creating a broad and welcoming housing environment within the city and keeping people in place in their homes, and just new development as well. There's a lot of legislation that's kind of getting into land use and housing and parking and transit. So I'm now on the Front Range Passenger Rail Board through my participation on DRCOG. So I'm a DRCOG rep on that board. DRCOG is our Denver Regional Council of Governments. And that is especially important for us because, we as a city have been waiting for some rail infrastructure for a long time. And this right now is planned, doesn't include a stop for us with the Front Range Rail, the inner city system. And so definitely trying to see if we can get more service, long story short, to the stations that we've already been building and putting density around and investing with the private sector very heavily. And that plays into how does the peak rail service. I don't know if you guys how familiar everybody is with the effort to try and get some peak rail service. That's essentially giving us some train service down into Denver and back. About three trips down, 3 trips back in the day, and how that could be integrated in with Front Range Rail. I'd love to see a Front Range Rail stop in Westminster as well. So that's another just thing that we're trying to do on the side and just increase our transit overall for the city.
Where's the closest stop? Is it Arvada?
There's a lot of different rail. So there's the rail lines. Yes, there was I think the G line goes into Arvada, if I'm not mistaken. We have the B line that goes into Westminster Station, and that's kind of the end of our
Okay.
rail touches us right now. And but our stops were supposed to be the downtown Westminster site, the Walnut Creek site. Did I miss one? No, yeah, because then we had three, and so it was Westminster Station, downtown, and Walnut Creek Promenade area. So,
awesome. All right.
Yeah.
I do have some questions, unless you've got some more
I
talking
can
points to get to.
I would rather answer questions than riff.
All right, sounds great. Okay, so we've got a question from Dave. Council had a presentation on changing water rates to a water budget program, and that will affect our businesses and residents. Can you go into that proposal and your thoughts?
Well, it's still being developed. So yeah, we had an initial conversation with staff to essentially look at creating just kind of a lid to how much water each type of customer would use. So if that's for businesses or for a single family home or townhome, et cetera, then it would say, okay, based on what you have, and we'd have to figure out, they still haven't figured out what are the parameters to kind of create that definition of what your budget should be. Could be household size, could be, lot size, all the things. And then if you stay within that budget, you have one rate. And if you exceed that budget, the rate per gallon would go up. So we're looking at that. My long-term wish is that we think about just our conservation overall and make sure that whatever we employ is still maintaining our ability to continue to use less water overall and encourage people to use less water than more. So there's that piece. With businesses, I want to say they focused more in on just the residential component. So I'd be interested to see how that plays into the businesses already, because we actually do have a kind of a different approach to business, to the delivery of water for businesses. I feel like it's kind of already a water budget in a way. But that's where we are right now. But we don't have any answers at the moment. They are going to be looking at it for us.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that update. And then I'm kind of jumping around in the comments here, but going back to our discussion before, do you expect that the ridership projections will support all the Front Range Rail RTD rail plans? I have not seen data that supports it, even if we've been paying RTD taxes for years.
It's a great question, because that's also my question too. So Front Range Rail has run some alternatives analyses on ridership. And with that, that's the intercity. So to define that is the intercity rail that goes from Pueblo up to Fort Collins and potentially down to Trinidad further, and then up to Cheyenne. So someday it might extend. They've run multiple analyses on ridership. And they've also looked at how ridership relates to frequencies. If we have more service versus less service in a day, there is a business case for Front Range Rail, and that is important because we want to be able to ensure that it's viable financially over time. And so there has been analysis of at least like the base case, which is six round trips a day, and that does, with the ridership, support the system overall, along with all the operations and maintenance. I think they could get more ridership if they put a stop in the north between Denver and Boulder. I think the ridership is really important to ensure we're maximizing with whatever service we start with, because that actually impacts our ability to get the more expanded light rail service, which is that the RTD type of service that already runs, to Westminster Station. We'd love to be able to, theoretically it was supposed to extend up to Boulder and into Longmont. And the peak rail service that is planned is actually only going one direction. It's only going into Denver. So it starts up in Longmont, comes down, goes into Denver, and then in the mornings and then in the afternoons it comes back up. And to me, I don't think that that's the best way to maximize ridership for that particular service, because we have a lot of people who split directions. A lot of people live in Westminster because of its accessibility to the north and south.
Right.
And our station, the Sheridan Park and Ride, is almost a natural split between how many people go up to Boulder and how many people go down to Denver. I could go super deep into that, but I'll stop there because it is really important, David. So.
All right. Thank you, David. Okay. So Parker's got a question also. I heard the fire chief resigned. Is that true? And can you speak to that?
Yes, he did. Chief Menard did resign, and we have Eric Burke taking on the interim role. Like you, we don't get a lot of detail unless they provide it. So I don't have more detail other than, he needed to, address his own personal needs. And so that's why he left. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay, a few more questions here. Dave's on a roll today. I was speaking with a developer the other day, and they planned a June 2024 initial submittal and are targeting 2025 as a public hearing. So you think that's a reasonable entitlement timeline?
It could be. If they have, they're targeting 2025. Hopefully it doesn't take more than a year. But if it's a really complicated project, it could take longer. If it's a phase project, if they need to, if it's not a simple, like they have to do a PDP and that getting the PDP and all your land uses is one thing, and then coming back in for the ODP. If they want a lot of changes to our regular standards, then it might take a little bit longer. Or if it's complex and it has drainage issues or improvements that need to be made, that can also delay conversations with the developer. So doing this on a daily basis, these are the things that delay things.
Yeah. So what else is on your agenda for council tonight? What can we look forward to?
God, I just read it. I'm trying to think, we have some second readings going, a lot of second readings that we've already looked at. I think that we have the strategic plan objectives in study session. I have to remember all of these things. I just went through it over the weekend, but
yeah, it's a lot, and it's every week. So I get that.
We have a bunch of, as I mentioned, just second hearings on some code items, as well as some projects or some economic incentive deals that already went through on the first round. And so, the other one was the City Hall North Lawn Transformation Project, which is pretty cool. We've been trying to do an improvement to our front yard for a really long time. It's kind of it's a drainage area, and sometimes it's just more like it doesn't look as fabulous as it could. It's just sort of a bunch of grass that we water, that's not really well used.
This is the area right on 92nd.
Yeah. So good point. It's right off of 92nd, and it's again on the front lawn of our city hall, and kind of wraps around the building just along the front edge. And we have a lot of beautiful trees. We have walking paths that go on the north side of it, but on the whole kind of 92nd Avenue frontage, it's just grass. And we have been wanting to do a demonstration garden for xeric planting in that area for a really long time. So now we're at a 90% design level and kind of ready to go into actually constructing it. It will save us water costs, because we're going to be replacing a lot of the the grass in the front with just native plantings, native seeds. If you take a look at the presentation tonight, you'll see some really beautiful plant choices, and it'll be an educational opportunity, but it'll also just I think be a more usable area, and again, just a smarter move over time to be a lot more sustainable on that very large grass area that we currently pay for. It will be about $1 million. I think it's hard for folks sometimes to put that kind of money into landscaping, but it'll pay off over time. And just like any of us who are putting in solar panels or putting in our own new front yards or backyards with xeric planting, that's just an investment that you make.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have going on.
Thanks for joining, Tracy. Good morning.
Morning. Like I said, we have a bunch of second readings with we have a project that's a revitalization of an old office building off of 73rd Avenue. So that's a cool rehab of an older building to actually bring in some mixed use residential and commercial into that. And so kind of reinvigorate that building. So that's fun. Let's see, we have a parking violation fine schedule that we're updating, very technical. It's really just bringing our code to match what our parking code is. So it's not creating new fines. It's just making sure our definitions are matching, kind of a perfunctory move. And we're adopting that strategic priorities and mission statement and vision. And the second readings on the two economic development assistant packages. One is for a project that is affordable housing that's down off of 88th Avenue on the east side of Federal. And it's for, I forget how many units. It's like 275 units or so of affordable units. And then we have another one that's off of 71st Avenue in the Westminster Station area. And that's another smaller scale multifamily project. So not a ton on the docket, but some good conversations. And I think we'll have probably a good bit of conversation around the strategic objectives this evening.
Well, it seems like in general, you have a lot going on right now, just in terms of, plans for around the city. So how do you balance those needs and priorities with different neighborhoods and communities within the city to ensure kind of equitable access to resources?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And it is something that we continue to bring up with, and staff has helped to, respond and help us understand where our investment is going and how and whether it's equitable and distributed throughout the city. So they did start mapping our capital improvement projects, and I don't know if it's publicly available, but I could ask that tonight to see if it is. So that's one way, is just actually figuring out where are they all going and how much money are we spending. The other thing is just through our plans. So the other piece is, the Parks and Rec vision plan, I think, is really important, because that one is the foundation to a lot of our community spaces. And those community spaces are the fundamental building block and sort of where we connect with each other and our community. And so making sure that we have spaces that are responsive and open to our residents and make people feel like they own them, that they belong there, and that they are enjoying them with one another. That is key. And so it's not only just it's figuring out, do we have enough space in the right place? And then also, how are we programming those spaces? So that's an important one. We just had Arts Week a week or two ago, and, just kind of helping to invigorate community members coming together. So I would say that one's a big one. And the again, just how we and where we apply funds for our capital improvements is the biggest one. We have a larger project coming in with, I think it's with federal funding, capital improvement project for 120th and Federal Parkway. So and then we have other projects that we're trying to get funding for down off of Sims. And, we hear where residents are feeling a lot of pain with respect to traffic impacts. And we do look at those and figure out, okay, where's the biggest safety issue? And we prioritize by, where do we have the most impact?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if people would like to get a hold of you, what is your preferred method?
Email is good. I also have my phone number, which I don't want to screw up because I have a lot of phone numbers, so I'm pulling it up. It's pathetic. Okay, here we go. Can I put it in the chat? Would that be easier?
Yeah, okay. And I'll post your email address there also.
Oh, that'd be good. 460. Okay, so here's my phone number. You can text me at those too. That's usually probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay.
Emails I do in these big chunks during the week. I probably check emails twice a week, just so you all know. And because I have a lot of emails for work as well, so I go through emails, but the texting and just kind of, hey, what's going on with this? It's a lot easier and more in my face. That's the best way.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Super helpful, and thank you for being on today. And I look forward to chatting with you again in 8 or 10 weeks or so. We have a whole bunch of new things to talk about. So
maybe we'll have almost a proposed budget or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, and don't blow away today.
Yeah, seriously. All right, everybody stay safe.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, everybody. Have a good Monday and a good week.